Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today we're diving into a story of breathtaking speed, high-stakes science, and profound controversy. We're talking about the cheetah's return to India. After an absence of over 70 years, the world's fastest land animal is once again sprinting across the Indian landscape. This ambitious undertaking, known as Project Cheetah, is one of the most audacious conservation experiments of our time, a species reintroduction. It's not as simple as opening a cage. It's a complex, scientifically driven process that tests the very limits of our ability to mend a broken ecosystem. So how did the cheetah vanish from India in the first place? And what does the science actually say about our chances of bringing it back? To understand the weight of this project, we have to rewind the clock. Historically, the Asiatic cheetah roamed across vast swaths of Asia, including the grasslands and semi-arid regions of the Indian subcontinent. They were revered by Indian royalty, so much so that Maharajas would tame them for use in royal hunting parties. But this fascination didn't protect them. The 20th century was catastrophic. The cheetahs faced relentless sport hunting, and their grassland habitats were rapidly converted to farmland to feed a growing population. The final nail in the coffin came when the British colonial government declared them vermin and offered bounties for killing them. The story ends grimly. In 1947, the last three recorded wild cheetahs in India were hunted by a single man, Maharaja Ramanuj Pratap Singh Deo of Korea. Just 5 years later, in 1952, the Indian government officially declared the cheetah extinct within its borders. It was the only large mammal to be wiped out in independent India due to human causes. Globally, the picture isn't much better. From an estimated 100,000 cheetahs in the wild in 1900, the population has crashed to between 507 individuals today. They have vanished from over 90% of their historic range, and the remaining fragmented populations, mostly in southern and eastern Africa, face a constant barrage of threats from habitat loss and human-wildlife conflict. So, how do you even begin to undo such a profound loss? The answer lies in the science of species reintroduction. This isn't a new idea, but it has evolved into a highly rigorous discipline guided by strict international protocols from groups like the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN. The primary goal is to establish a viable, free-ranging, and self-sustaining population in the wild. But before a single animal is moved, scientists must conduct exhaustive feasibility studies. They have to answer critical questions. First, have the original threats been dealt with? Releasing animals into an environment where they face the same pressures that wiped them out before is a recipe for failure. In India, the hunting that drove cheetahs to extinction is now illegal, but the habitat loss and human pressure are more intense than ever. Second, is the habitat suitable? This involves a deep analysis of prey density, the presence of competing predators, water availability, and the potential for conflict with humans living nearby. Third, where will the source animals come from? Genetically, the ideal candidates would be from the same subspecies, the Asiatic cheetah. But that population, found only in Iran, is critically endangered, with perhaps fewer than 50 individuals, making it impossible to source them. The health and genetic diversity of the chosen individuals are paramount to giving the new population a robust foundation. And finally, what are the socioeconomic implications? Reintroducing a large carnivore affects the people who live there. Their support is crucial for long-term success. After years of discussion and surveys, these principles led to the launch of Project Cheetah. Kuno National Park in the state of Madhya Pradesh was selected as the initial reintroduction site. It's a large, protected area of over 748 square kilometers, and importantly, 24 villages had already been relocated from its core to make way for a different, now stalled project to reintroduce lions. On September 17, 2022, the project became a reality. 8 southeastern African cheetahs from Namibia were flown to India in a landmark event, followed by another 12 cheetahs from South Africa in February 2023. This was the world's first ever intercontinental translocation of a large wild carnivore. The choice of African cheetahs was a pragmatic one. With the Asiatic cheetah unavailable, scientists turned to Africa. Genetic studies show that southern African cheetahs are believed to be the ancestral lineage of all other cheetahs and, crucially, possess the highest observed genetic diversity. This is vital because cheetahs as a species are remarkably uniform genetically. They survived a severe population bottleneck around 10,000 years ago, which left them with very little genetic variation, making them highly susceptible to diseases. Maximizing the genetic diversity of the founder group in India was therefore a top scientific priority. Upon arrival, each cheetah was fitted with a satellite GPS radio collar. This technology is the backbone of the project, allowing scientists to track their movements in real time. This data reveals how they establish territories, interact with their new environment, and if they wander into human-dominated areas. A dedicated ground team, along with a network of camera traps, provides 24/7 surveillance, observing their health and hunting patterns. But why go to all this trouble? The reintroduction isn't just about saving one species. It's about restoring an entire ecosystem. Cheetahs are what's known as a keystone species. Their presence has a disproportionately large effect on their environment. As apex predators, they regulate populations of herbivores like cheetah or spotted deer in Kuno. By preying on these animals, they prevent overgrazing, which in turn maintains the health of the grassland. Without a top predator, you can get what's called a trophic cascade. Herbivore numbers explode, they degrade the vegetation, soil erodes, and the entire ecosystem suffers. By bringing back the cheetah, the hope is to restore this ecological balance. The cheetah is seen as an umbrella species. Protecting its vast habitat needs will indirectly conserve a whole suite of other, less charismatic species that share India's threatened grasslands. That's the theory. The reality, however, has been fraught with challenges and has ignited fierce debate within the scientific community. The project's first 2 years have been a sobering lesson in just how difficult this kind of conservation is. The most glaring problem has been the high mortality rate. Of the 20 adult cheetahs translocated, a significant percentage have died. Several cubs born in India have also perished. The causes have been varied and, in some cases, completely unexpected. Some died from renal failure or injuries sustained during mating. More alarmingly, others died from septicemia, caused by infections that developed under their radio collars, a problem potentially made worse by India's hot and humid monsoon season. This mortality rate, far higher than the projected 50% survival over the first year, has led many critics to question the project's viability. Another major point of contention is Kuno National Park itself. While initial assessments were positive, some leading cheetah experts argue that the park is simply too small and not the ideal open grassland habitat that cheetahs thrive in. Research from Africa shows that cheetahs have a unique social system with huge, widely spread territories and very low population densities, often less than one individual per 100 square kilometers. Critics argue the carrying capacity of Kuno was overestimated, based on prey numbers alone, without properly accounting for the cheetah's innate need for space. They predicted the cheetahs would inevitably move beyond the park's unfenced boundaries, and that's exactly what happened. Several cheetahs made long-ranging journeys far outside the park, highlighting the immense challenge of managing a wide-ranging carnivore in a densely populated country. As of late 2024, this has led to a major setback. All surviving cheetahs have been brought back into enclosures within Kuno, raising the fundamental question of whether they can ever be truly considered wild under these conditions. Then there's the problem of competition. Kuno has a high density of leopards, which are more powerful and adaptable than cheetahs. There's a real risk of leopards killing cheetahs or stealing their kills. To make matters worse, recent reports suggest that the main prey base, the cheetah deer, has seen a decline within Kuno. The combination of a high leopard population and a potentially shrinking food source is a major hurdle that must be overcome before the cheetahs can be released back into the free-ranging wild. Beyond the ecological challenges lies the complex human dimension. The success of any large carnivore reintroduction hinges on the support of local communities. The area that is now Kuno National Park was once home to thousands of people from 24 villages who were moved to make way for the original lion reintroduction project. Critics argue these communities have not been adequately prepared for the arrival of a new predator, and the promises made to them during their relocation have yet to be fully realized. This raises serious questions of social justice. While cheetahs rarely attack humans, they do prey on livestock like goats and sheep. In Africa, this is the main driver of human-cheetah conflict, leading to retaliatory killings by farmers. To prevent this in India, proactive strategies are essential. Conservation groups in Namibia have had great success with non-lethal methods, most famously the livestock guarding dog program. Large dogs like Anatolian shepherds are raised with the herds, and their presence is highly effective at deterring predators. This, combined with community education and developing economic benefits from conservation, like ecotourism, will be critical for fostering long-term coexistence. We have a powerful case study for this kind of project: the reintroduction of gray wolves to Yellowstone National Park in 1995. After wolves were eliminated, the elk population exploded, overgrazing willows and aspens. This devastated beaver populations and even changed the course of rivers as banks eroded. Bringing back just a handful of wolves triggered a magnificent trophic cascade. The wolves controlled the elk, the vegetation recovered, the beavers returned, their dams stabilized the rivers, and the entire ecosystem was rejuvenated. But the Yellowstone story also comes with a crucial warning. The wolf reintroduction was, and remains, intensely controversial, facing huge opposition from local ranchers worried about livestock losses. It teaches us that scientific success in restoring an ecosystem does not guarantee social and political success. Genuine community engagement is not an add-on, it's integral to a project's survival. So where does that leave Project Cheetah? The journey is still in its early stages. The high mortality and the confinement of the animals are undeniable setbacks, but there have been small victories. Cubs have been born in India, proving the animals can reproduce. The cheetahs that were free-ranging proved they could hunt native prey and navigate the landscape. The conservation authorities seem to be learning from these initial stumbles. A second home for the cheetahs is being prepared at the Gandhi Sagar Sanctuary, also in Madhya Pradesh. The long-term plan is to establish a metapopulation, a network of several connected populations, to ensure genetic viability and buffer against local disasters. The future of the cheetah in India hangs in a delicate balance. It will demand rigorous, transparent science that isn't afraid to admit and learn from failure. It will require a shift to a holistic strategy that truly integrates the needs and concerns of local communities. The cheetah's gambit is a powerful symbol of our complicated relationship with nature, a story of our capacity to harm and our imperfect attempts to heal. Whether this bold experiment leads to a lasting victory for conservation or is checkmated by the immense challenges, only time will tell. As the cheetahs of Kuno await their next move, the world is watching.